All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Vlatko. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Special Interest Group for Documentation. This is our bi-weekly community meeting, and today is Tuesday, the 13th of May, 2025. Hello to YouTube land. This will be uploaded once the meeting is done. We've got a few folks on the call here that we will have in this week that is a bit of an in-between week for releases as well. So it's probably like a more quiet time. And I shout out to the other, we've got two of our tech leads on the call as well, Xander and Kat, and to all of our other regular and non-regular meeting folks that are here. I wanted to just double check to see if there is anyone on the call that's new that wanted to say hi and introduce themselves. And now is the time to do so. Okay. Looks like perhaps not. That's fine. For those who are new and watching this after the fact and want to come and introduce themselves in the SIG Slack channel that we have in the Kubernetes Slack, please do so. We'd love to check out what new contributors are interested in working on or what they need help with, and we'd love to help you out. So thanks so much. Let's start going through the rest of the agenda for today. I wanted to note that this is a meeting for the Kubernetes project, which means we abide by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct. We want folks to be respectful to one another, and especially when giving feedback that might be critical, for example, or having disagreements. But that also means that we want that respect to be happening in not only meetings like this one, but also on PRs, issues, in Slack, in all the places that we collaborate and engage with one another. If you have any issues that you believe require some help or intervention from the Code of Conduct Committee, you can contact them at the email address conduct@kubernetes.io, and they'll be able to help you out. We go through for SIG Docs, we go through a few updates and reminders each meeting that we have. And one of the updates and reminders I want to jump into is who our PR wrangling and issue wrangling folks are for the next few weeks. PR wrangling is something that we do in SIG Docs where we try and drive contributions through the pipeline to make sure that our PRs are actually getting reviewed and looked at by the people that need to. And so this week's PR wrangler is Ray Lahano. Ray is one of our co-chairs. He's actually got a conflict on today for the first half of this meeting and couldn't be here. But Ray is being shadowed by two folks. I think Imran, you're also on the call, probably possibly shadowing for Ray this week, which is great. And yeah, if you've got any questions that come up from that, feel free to let us know. Awesome. Next week's PR wrangler is Xander, and the following week's PR wrangler is Kat. Kat will be shadowed by iHeart Nathan as well. For all the folks who are PR wranglers, which are the approvers that are listed for SIG Docs, please remember to check your shifts. We do have a couple of repeats of folks that are going in throughout the rest of the month, so feel free to check those. For issue wrangling, it's a very similar thing where we actually go through issues to try to push them through in terms of making sure they've got the right labels and information on them for them to be actually taken on and worked on, or for issues to possibly be cleared out because they're either duplicates or shouldn't be worked on. And so with that, we've got Sayak, who's actually on the call, who's doing issue wrangling this week. Issue wrangling can be done by anyone who's been in the project and in the around the SIG for a little while and feels like they've got a good understanding of the things that we want to be working on and that we want to prioritize. So we're happy for contributors who not necessarily are new, but have been involved for at least a little while to is also jump in on issue wrangling as well. And if you want to, please reach out to me specifically. You can do so on Slack at Natalie, and I can absolutely help you with getting you assigned some issue wrangling shifts. But the next week's issue wrangler is me. And so if any folks have any questions around that, you can also reach out to me as well. With issue wrangling, it's anyone who is generally a reviewer or, like I said, someone who's just got a decent grip on what's going on in the project. So a contributor that's been around for a little while and who's also an org member. So they will have permissions to be able to add some labels as well. That's a somewhat of a requirement. And so if you feel that we meet those requirements, please get in touch with me. Okay, our agenda is quite short today, and so I'm going to already start with it. As I mentioned at the top of the meeting, we are in a bit of an in-between week where the last release has already taken place and almost culminated. We've got a few updates coming, I know, from Ryota a bit later on about the last blog that will be published for the feature blog schedule. But we are in an in-between week because the next release cycle, which is 1.34, will start on Monday the 19th. And so what we usually do with the release is that we give a release docs and a release comms update. I did want to note that the docs lead for this cycle is Michelle Nguyen, who I've listed here, and we've got Agustina, who I believe is on the call, also as the communications lead. But given that we are also there's a small update here, I want to hand it over to either Agustina or Ryota to keep chatting a bit more about comms.
Yeah, I can take it over. So for the V133, which is already out, but we have a few blogs that are yet to be completed. So 13 blogs have been published. So you can see that on Kubernetes.io now, and 4 have been scheduled. So that means all the PRs have been merged and they will just appear basically on a daily basis from today as well. There is one that is to go out very soon and also following days of the week. I actually should have mentioned that there is one, before I get into a little bit of a side note on the release announcement, one pending PR on feature blog, which we may not have. So we were always tracking 18 blogs, but we may actually drop one and then we would be fully done with feature blogs with the 4 blogs that are scheduled. So that's a status with the feature blogs. And one thing that I should have added in the doc here is the etcd release announcement is something that etcd team is working on. And they have started the draft yesterday, I think, and it is under review on their side. Their release schedule was, if I remember correctly, it was Thursday this week. And depending on when the blog is ready, we might want to squeeze that in before the feature blog gets published. So it is possible that the 4 that are scheduled, probably 2 for today and tomorrow, would just go in as is. But for the latter to the Thursday and Friday one, may need to be pushed back one day. So we might have one more blog on Monday next week, or if etcd blog is not ready by then, we will be just having that release announcement next week. So that there is a bit of a discussion around that still, and then we'll just kind of be waiting for the etcd side of the blog to be ready so that we can have a reference, just having a link over from the kubernetes.io or having the exact word copied over to kubernetes.io. In either case, etcd is working on their side first, and then when that's done, we'll have something on the Kubernetes side. So that's something I just wanted to make sure to touch on. And on top of that, we had the release retro a couple weeks ago, I think, right after the SIG Docs meeting last week. And I have a point that I want to discuss a little bit later. But from the retro, there were a few things that we took away, and I will be working on the comms handbook to include some of the learnings that we had, so that Agus can take on for the V134, the next release, with her team. So that's the status update from the comms.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ryota. Does anyone have any questions for comms? I have a question that you may not be able to answer, but maybe someone on the call, maybe Kat, if Kat's available, can answer. The etcd blog, or the work that they're doing, their release, does that happen via the ordinary enhancement proposal process that we have, or is that something that is possibly planned? I'm not sure if we can answer that here, but if someone knows, I'm asking
I
out
do
loud.
not know. I do not know, but
Okay.
I'm curious to know
I
myself as well.
Yeah.
also don't know offhand, but I will find out.
Hmm. Yeah, because I think they're recently, for folks who don't know, etcd used to be their own standalone project, and we brought them into Kubernetes as a Kubernetes SIG instead. But I don't know if the bring in via a SIG means that they've also kind of adopted all of the release processes that we also have, and that's probably something that, for me, I was just curious. But cool, thanks for answering, Kat. I appreciate it. Okay, so if there's no questions, we'll go on to the next area of our agenda. And just a big congratulations again to the new leads for Docs and Comms. We look forward to working with you here in Docs as well. We're up to the area that we've got issues and PRs that we usually discuss. And we've got nothing on the agenda, but I just want to check if anyone has an issue or PR that they'd like to bring up now. Okay, silence means no, which is great. We can move on to the next area of our agenda, which actually, Ryota, I will be coming back to you since you're the only discussion point listed there.
Sure. Yeah, so this was just something that I thought would be nice to have. So I had a bit of a discussion in the release retro where we could potentially have all the feature blogs linked in the release announcement, since the feature blogs are prefixed with Kubernetes, Kubernetes v133 or whatever version of the release that may be. It is possible to find the release blogs after the release. And if you were to go back to v129, 30, 31, you can, but there is no single place that you can have all the links to the feature blogs. So I was thinking that we may be able to update the release announcement for those release highlights that have some quick block where we basically list we talk about the description of the KEP and also the KEP link. And on top of it, we might be able to just add a quick link on the feature blogs for those that have been published. We definitely cannot do this when the release announcement is actually published in the first place, because feature blogs do happen much later than that. But it is potentially possible, and I think it would be useful for the community to know and to be able to just go to the release announcement to get all the information about the release, be it docs, be it feature blogs, or whatever else that may be related to the feature, to the release. One concern is that I don't think it's common to have a post-release announcement updates. So I'm just curious if that's actually possible. And if it is, I would like to start working on the pull request. It should be pretty short pull request, adding feature blog links, probably sometime next week. But just wanted to see if anyone has ideas or suggestions or concerns around it.
Firstly, just to double check to remind myself, we list the release announcements as evergreen so that they're not stale necessarily for the blog. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes. Yeah.
For that's sorry, that is correct, and that should have been the case, but we basically haven't done it too much. So 133 is definitely evergreen, true,
Right.
but previous releases didn't have that flag, and that was a bit of a
I
mistake.
see. No, that's okay. Because the reason I asked that is that if we're then linking to blogs that aren't, I mean that it's not exactly a concern, but just like a small thing, a detail in my mind of yes, the announcement of the release is evergreen because we want the information around when these certain features graduated or went into alpha, beta, etc., or were deprecated. But then further information on the feature, a link is always like good, but I just wonder if there's a possible concern of linking to information that then wouldn't be in evergreen after the fact. But I think that's just a nonsense concern, honestly.
But I guess that's a good point, that if it is the release announcement is evergreen, do we want to link to non-evergreen items? I think there was a mention of that in the docs guideline somewhere, so I'll double check. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I do understand like the desire to have like all of that in one place, and so I'm wondering if there's like a way. I know on the PR side of things that we can use labels so that you can easily find which PRs are linked to the feature blogs, and obviously we've got that on the project boards too. But yeah, it's a good point of like or could there be even a separate page that we have that just is a catalog of all the feature blogs that are part of each release, for example.
I'm
Yeah, just
sorry,
to.
I'm curious, is there a way for the blog page to show, like, use some tags or something to filter just to list out on only particular release or like particular SIG related blogs?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, does my Hugo Doxy knowledge isn't always amazing. Um, I imagine that that's actually possible, but whether we've implemented it is the question.
It probably isn't implemented at the moment, but if
Yeah.
that is possible, then we could be adding such link at the time the release announcement goes out, and we do not have to kind of update a post
Mm,
release, and we can have the link to kind of take care of the latest blog published. And if we need to add extra flags or extra labels on the front matter or the pull request, we could probably work on that later. But I was just
yeah.
wondering, maybe that's the route we want to take. But at the same time, yeah, that's definitely not something we can do, as far as I understand. That's not something we can do this time around. So maybe it's potentially a um, a workaround for this time to just add all the links, but perhaps in the future we can have a more dynamic link created and just attached to the release announcement when it goes out.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, definitely not a requirement, but a nice to have for sure. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Um, any other comments or suggestions?
I believe Doxy does support such tagging. It supports, I believe, random tags as well as categories. If I recall correctly, this system is disabled right now. I might be wrong. I need to double check, but I believe it is disabled. But Doxy itself supports this mechanism, so we might be able to implement this if needed.
I'm curious why
Cool.
this is disabled, if you know.
Yeah, I'm just double checking this. Taxonomy. Yeah, so
I would say,
taxonomy is.
sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's disabled because it's not utilized, I guess. There is
Yes, I
no
was
other
about to
reason
say
I
because
see.
yeah, I would also say that our we hadn't upgraded Doxy for quite a while, and we likely went very bare bones in the capabilities that we wanted to kind of put up when the blog was created. No one in this virtual meeting room was around when that happened, and unfortunately, we're not very good at cataloging or like documenting a lot of the work that took place in the past, I would say, outside of it existing and PRs and so on. But I could try and do a little bit of search in the issues to see if we did document anything like this or a certain decision.
I don't
But I
think
would
so,
also guess. Mm.
because this disabling of this feature was done when the migration to Hugo was happening. So at the
Ah,
very start itself, it was disabled, and I don't think like a lot of there are lots of decisions taken. So I don't think we will find exactly why this was disabled at that time. Maybe again, I think because it was this migration happened in 2018 or something. At that point of time, I think it was not really needed, or maybe it was making things complicated or something. But we can definitely look into enabling this feature.
yeah, great, awesome.
Great.
That could be something that.
Should I create an issue for that, or how should we?
Yeah, I was about to say an issue is really good for that, and hilariously, Sayaka would be then triaging that issue this week. But I think yeah, creating that issue because that's where discussion could also happen of whether the community and folks involved would actually want that feature or not too. Um,
Right.
I think I agree with you that it would be useful, but also we possibly are making an assumption about something that would be used that might not be, and the work to implement that can be, pushed elsewhere to things that we should be working on as well. So issue is a great place to start.
Okay, I can definitely create one for the category, the doxy update, of using the label tagging, whatever the terminology is,
Yeah.
and along with it, kind of on separate from that, I will be probably discussing just dropping a note in the Slack channel about the particular V133 release blog updates post-release. Is that how we should go about it, or do you want it to take place somewhere else?
Yeah, no, like in the Slack channel is completely fine. I would actually, if probably in Stick Dog's blog particularly, just because we want also some of the blog team folks to weigh in there who may know why that would be a concern. To me, I'm not seeing one right now outside of the tiny evergreen thing, but in case there's something that we're missing concerning wise.
Makes sense. Thank you. We'll do that.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Ryota. Thanks, Sayak. That's actually the end of our agenda. So I do want to open it up to see if anyone else has any other questions or discussion points they'd like to bring up before we close the meeting. Okay. Folks, appreciate a quick meeting for the in-between week of releases. I hope everyone is doing really well, and I hope you have a nice rest of your week until the next meeting. So thanks again, and any questions, please come into the SIGDoc Slack channel over on the Kubernetes Slack, and we'll absolutely help you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.